Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. And that's a quote from Lao Tzu. Change begins at the end of your comfort zone, but how do you know when it's time to take the leap? Stay with me for today's episode to find out. We are talking about intuition.
The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to Rat Race Reboot. I'm your host, Laura Noel. And as a certified coach and former 27-year military leader, each week I provide bite-sized mindset pivots that will help you reset your mind, reawaken your spirit, and regain your control.
Welcome back, everyone. I love talking about intuition, and there's going to be many more episodes about intuition because it is part of my doc project. So you're going to hear about intuition in all of its facets and glory over the next year and a half. I promise you that, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to have a deeper understanding. But, we all have growth phases in our lives. I mean, we're meant for growth and expansion. And when we are growing, it's not always going to be rainbows and unicorns. We're going to be facing fears and facing challenges, both emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, so all of those things. And that's okay. Move anyway. And so today I wanted to talk about, and there are many more, ways to know that your intuition is like, hello, wake up, I'm trying to tell you something. But there were some things that I experienced from time to time, and I certainly experienced when I made that transition from working in my job in the military to transitioning out to becoming an entrepreneur. And as I've grown throughout the years of doing this work, there are three things that I wanted to hone in on that are kind of telling you that it's time to move. Okay. And so the first one is if you find yourself starting to question your priorities, is this really important to me anymore? If you start thinking about, do I need to start setting some boundaries so that I can focus on these priorities? That might give you an indication that you're ready to move, you're ready to roll. Maybe you're starting to care less about what other people think, and it's just not as important to you. And when you're thinking about that, and you're reevaluating your priorities, listen for cues and questions you might be asking yourself, like, do I even like this anymore? Why am I doing this? Are these my goals, or is somebody shoulding on me, right? And if you want to know more about that, go back to a previous episode called Don't Should on Yourself. And that's when we are doing things that they're not our priorities. They're somebody else's. Maybe they're our employer's priorities. Maybe there are, friends and family's priorities, and they're kind of projecting those on us. And we're starting to feel the weight of those priorities and recognizing that they're not in alignment with us anymore. They're not our own priorities. So if you start feeling that way, this goes under this, you're questioning your priorities. And maybe you're even starting to feel a little bit restless, like there's something missing and you don't know what. And here's what I experienced when I started feeling restless. I had a great career. I was at the top of my game. I had a great life and great friendships, and I felt something was missing and I didn't feel fulfilled. And then guilt came on board, and that is like a low vibrational emotion. I was feeling guilty for feeling that way and kind of ashamed. Like, I should be grateful for all of these things that I'm doing in my life. What is it with this guilt? It doesn't make any sense. But if you're starting to feel those emotions, that's a good indication that you don't belong there anymore in some capacity. It doesn't mean maybe not physically, but maybe mentally in that space. You need a change. So that's number one. that all aligns with you're starting to question your priorities. Number 2 is you're recognizing people and behavioral patterns you want to step away from. So I thought of this morning. You're letting go of those, for sure, those toxic relationships, but also maybe you're okay with not being picked. Maybe you're in a group and you're the last one picked or not picked at all. Maybe that's an indication that you don't really belong there, or that your people are somewhere else. It doesn't mean that you don't love them, but it just means that maybe you're meant for something else. Maybe you need to attract those other people into your life who are in complete harmony with not only where you are now, but where you're going, right? And I thought of this, it's better to sit at the table alone and create space for the people who are meant to share that space with you, okay? So recognizing the people and behavioral patterns and habits that you want to step away from. So maybe you have some habits right now that off the top of your head, aren't serving you with regard to where you want to go. And it's time to step away from them. And then number 3 is you're starting to notice that you're becoming more and more curious, not in a comparison kind of a way, but you're curious about, I wonder how that person did that. I wonder what it would be like to try that. You're drawn to new experiences and you don't know why. They don't make sense. You just want to do it. For many years, I was getting the pull and tug from my intuition to get yoga teacher certified for years. And it didn't make sense. I was in the military. I had no plans on getting out anytime soon. And I didn't know where would this certification fit in my life? And how would I even pay for it? And it just finally, I surrendered and I gave in and I followed that curiosity. And you know what? Following my curiosity is what led me to where I am today. And it feels natural and it feels good and it feels I'm where I belong. And I'm excited about the path forward. So follow your curiosity. Don't just ask the questions, but actually follow through and do the things. Meet the people that you're curious about. Ask questions. Follow your passions, and you'll discover more about yourself. Basically, in this space, if you're experiencing these things, your intuition is telling you where you need to go. And you're awake enough right now to recognize that this is happening. So follow it. So this goes into the what's next. So practice listening to what your intuition is telling you. And so it's essential that, 1, you carve out time for yourself to do this. If your mind and your space is cluttered with people and experiences and all of this noise and stuff that isn't serving you and where you want to go, then carve out 15 minutes a day, first thing in the morning. I say this almost every episode because it works. But clear the noise. Carve out this time for yourself to just sit quietly and think. Just start with 15 minutes. It's the repetition of you doing this that will have the greatest impact on you. So don't wait until a Saturday and carve out a full day. Yes, that's great. Do a retreat, but little increments. That's fine. That's all you need to do. And then ask yourself in that space, what do I want? This is how you start to gain clarity on what it is you want. Then free write. So whatever comes to your mind in that question, just be quiet and listen. Just let the pen roll across the paper and journal. Whatever comes to mind without judging it, write it down. And over time, you'll start to see patterns. Maybe over the course of a couple of weeks or a month of you doing this, you'll gain clarity on things that you do want. And of course, even things that I don't want that. I know I don't want that. So then your job is to pick, to decide, to make a committed decision. And Don't concern yourself at this point with the how. And I just also did a previous episode on the decision comes first and then the solutions come after, always. And I have a couple of episodes on that. But know this. The reason why you are feeling restless, the reason why you're feeling that discontentment, the reason why your intuition is like, hello, wake up, it's because you're not meant to be there anymore. That's why you feel uncomfortable. So yes, it's a little bit scary to make a committed decision to do something and not have the path laid out beautifully for us. But what's more frightening? Looking back after a year of doing what you're doing now and being in the same spot, or taking a leap of faith, trusting faith more than you trust the fear. And to me, that is less frightening. Trusting myself more than I trust the fear. What's frightening to me is being in the same space next year that I am this year. I always want to be growing. We're meant to continually grow, but it takes getting out of your comfort zone. So the path of least resistance, though, is getting coached, to help you gain clarity on what it is you want, first and foremost, to help you recognize when your intuition is chiming in, and to be a mirror for you when you're feeling out of sorts and out of alignment, and talking through some of these things so you can break through them. That coaching piece of it is so essential because we all have blind spots, and that coaching is your path of least resistance. That's when you're going to link with somebody who's doing what you want to be doing in some capacity, and who can shine the light on where some of those blind spots are, but also lock arms with you to help you break through it. You want to find somebody who understands the laws and principles that I'm talking about here, not only understands them on an intellectual level, but also knows how to apply them. And then who helps you direct your energy so it's not diffused, but direct your energy in the right direction. So you're not doing all of the things, you're leveraging the right things. And if it sounds like you're ready to leverage the support of a coach, then I want you to go to the show notes and get on my calendar. And we'll have a free consultation to help you get pointed in the right direction. Do not wait until the new year to do this. This is when you want to start gaining that clarity so that as the new year is kicking into high gear, you are moving beyond that speed and level of acceleration, okay? So as we end every episode, I want you to consider what it is you're truly passionate about. Think about the things that we talked about, the ways to know when your spirit is telling you to move. Consider that. And then at the very least, start carving that time out for yourself. 15 minutes a day is all you need to start with to start gaining clarity. And then leverage that accountability and support of a coach. That's what I want you to do. I want you to be clear and connected and in alignment before the year ends. All right, you with me? Okay, so if you got value out of today's episode, I want you to do what I always ask you to do. Go to ratracereboot.com and leave us a review. Leave us a 5-star review. And then also download those meditations so you can start on this process. That's what's going to help you get in the headspace to start creating and tapping into your intuition. And those are 3 free meditations. They're 3 MP3s to help you take inspired action. So go there. I'm excited that you joined us for today's episode. There are a lot of links that I'm going to leave you with to previous episodes to give you more context in this. But again, thank you for joining us. And remember, everything is created twice. That's why we're doing this mindset work. First in your mind and then in physical form. We'll see you next week.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.